back to how to fertilize your budget. Today I have a recipe for you. It's one of my personal favorites. My children loved this when they were young, and my grandchildren love it now. It has a lot of vegetables in it. It is a soup, and it'll feed about 6 to 8 people. It doesn't take a whole lot of any particular thing to make it, and so it's a great way to make a lot of food for a little bit of money. So I have a video for you here to watch on how to make, it's called Texas Tortilla Soup. And so here's the end product. I serve it with tortilla chips. Here is everything that I need to get started on making my soup. You can see that I have a bowl of vegetables here. I put those vegetables into my food processor. It's some celery and some bell pepper and some carrots and some scallions. I heat in my pan about a half a stick of butter and some oil to saute those vegetables in. And then I'm going to add those chopped vegetables. You can see I chop them fairly small so that they go good in the soup. And I add them to that butter and oil mixture. I saute it for about 5 minutes. It's your personal preference. But then I add about a teaspoon of chopped garlic in there. And saute that as well. To that, I'm going to add some chicken. Now, I used canned chicken. I used 2 small 5-ounce cans of white chicken breast. You might prefer dark chicken, whichever one that you prefer. But I do chop that up before I add it to my soup. Just to make it easier to be in a soup consistency there. Some people might rather have it chunks. I don't. I add the broth from both cans because you can see in my pan that it's pretty dry without it. Then I add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground cumin, and also a teaspoon of chili powder to it for seasonings. And then I'm going to mix that around real good in my vegetable and chicken mixture. And then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of hot sauce. Now, the hot sauce is not going to make it spicy hot. It's just going to give it a little bit of flavor. So I put that into my base there and mix it in. And next I'm going to add a half a cup of flour. This flour is to thicken it up so that the soup will be a less of a watery consistency. It'll be more of a thick soup consistency when it's finished. That will make that base there very dry, but we're going to add more to it, obviously, to make it into a soup, but expect it to be dry when you mix it. Now, you can use a can of tomatoes. I had some frozen tomatoes out of my garden, diced in the freezer, and so I added those. But either way, even if I use the can, I put it through the food processor. Make sure you leave the juice, and so that they're small pieces of tomato in the soup. Chop that up and add it to your base. Mix it in real well. And next I'm going to add, I have a quart of chicken broth that I had saved from boiling some chicken. Now you may want to buy chicken broth. If you do, 2 cans, 2 of the 14.5-ounce cans works great. Stir that in real good, and now you have your soup and you're ready to cook it. So I set it just below medium and get it started boiling. Stir it regularly so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan, and get that to a small boil, low boil, I guess is the proper word for that. Once you get it to a low boil, do continue to stir it because you don't want it to stick. Put a lid on it and turn your temperature back to whatever your stove needs in order to continue to have a slow boil without burning it or making it stick. Mine is just below the second, or just before the second mark of my stove. Yours, I mean, whatever your stove needs. But do stir it regularly so that it doesn't stick. Cook it for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You can cook it longer, just as long as you keep an eye on it. You might turn it down once it's done. And this is the finished product here. As you can see, I've added some pepper and I've added some shredded mozzarella cheese. You might use a different cheese. Kobe Monterey Jack works good in it. Or like a Mexican style taco cheese works good. And I serve it with tortilla chips. I'm going to put up here for you the recipe so that you can see what I put in it. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It serves 6 to 8 people. And it freezes well. Now, I will make a big pot of it and put it in bowls, put it in the freezer. And so on nights that I don't want to have to cook, all I have to do is pull it out and let it thaw a little bit, microwave it, and there's my supper. It also travels well if you take food with you when you travel, or whatever your need could be. So, I hope you enjoy the soup. I hope you enjoy the videos. As usual, subscribe if you enjoy the page. Come back and see what we have added. You can always email me at learntodosurveys@gmail.com. My name is Tammy Fraunfelter. Look for my book on Amazon, How to Fertilize Your Budget. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.